Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're gonna be doing another What's It Worth, and obviously we've already covered all the nollies, all the dust kits for the Halloween new colors, and we're gonna get straight into the Shawchis, and standing right behind me is gonna be none other than the Gleaming Halloween Shawchi. Now for starters, I know a lot of people are a little bit on edge about this, mainly because of the fact that first editions and new editions aren't visually different. I know a lot of people wanted these to be a little bit more different in terms of their alpha, and hopefully I genuinely pray that they add some sort of visual effect for first edition, be it like some sort of crown feature or whatever. But before I get straight into all that yapping and all that information, I wanted to give a major shout outs to SpexDex for actually lending this to me. Major shout outs to you. Here's your YouTube channel, so go make sure to subscribe to them. And also additionally, regarding SpexDex, we're actually hosting a giveaway together for a Gleaming Ikazune Pure Nimble. If you guys want to quickly join that, follow my Twitter account and subscribe to SpexDex. This will end once Dex is currently at 200 subs, which they're relatively halfway through. We're about almost 140 subs in by the time of this recording, so go do that right now. Now getting straight to the facts, we can see this Shawchi being around almost 10 GR at the lowest to about almost 15 GR with good demand for the time being. Additionally, for any of the first edition Gleaming Halloween Shawchis, I know they're originally around almost 360, 370 max, but as of now, we can see them about almost a fraction of that. Currently, we can see them around almost 75 GR at the very highest, which is truly unfortunate, but hopefully in the long run, we'll see a rise in this. And one more thing before I do get into it, I did forget to also mention that this is going to be standing at a whopping 1 in 64,000 chance to find in the wild. Now, with all this in mind, let's get straight into the trading process. All right, let's go in the chat. Let's type in looking for offers on Gleaming Halloween Shawchi New Edition, and boom. And now let's wait for offers. All right, our first trade request is coming from Desired Unit, so let's see what Desired has to trade with us today. So we start off with a Gamma Deladrix Pure Nimble, a Sapphire Geklo, Robust Sluggish, and it's also going to be Radiance, a Gleam Metronet, Pure Nimble. It does seem like this may be Desired's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. All right, and they're just confirm with the Desired Unit, who did just say, yes, it is, in reference to whether or not this is their final offer. So with this being said, is this trade worth it? This trade is going to unfortunately have to push towards an L, and I say that for the time being, mainly because of the fact that this is going to be around almost 8.6 GR total, because the fact that the Deladrix has 2 GR with OP demand, so maybe around 4 GR for that. As for the Sapphire Geklo, we can see this being around almost 3.7 to 3.8 GR, minus a little bit just because of the fact that it's Radiance. And finally, for the Gleam Metronet, we can see this being around almost 0.8 GR at the very best, but bear in mind, it does have decent demand. So that being said, overall, not the best trade you could take. Maybe if Gleaming Halloween Shawchi does decide to drop a little bit, personally speaking, this trade is going to push towards an L. That being said, let's get into our next trade. All right, and the next trade request is coming from Dark Lord 5931. So let's see what Dark Lord has to trade with us today. We start off with a Rainbow Cinnamoth, Pure Smart, a Gamma Terrafly, Indifferent. It does seem like this may be Dark's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. All right, so I mean, Dark Lord hasn't been responding, so I'm assuming these two are his final offer. So with this being said, is this trade worth it? Unfortunately, as obvious as this trade is gonna have to be a major thumbs down. Overall, it was a massive L. Not really getting a lot of GR to this. So that being said, let's get into our next trade. All right, and the next trade request is coming from Fast Red 37. So let's see what Fast Red has to trade with us today. So we start off with a Gleam Grief Zone, Indifferent, Brian Cub, Brownie Clumsy, a very hyper tender Clumsy, Fan Cub, and a Gleaming Halloween Kapoink, Frail Clever. Fast Red did just cancel this trade, so let's just assume this was their final offer. Granted, that was literally all we were working with. Is that trade worth it? This trade is an obvious massive thumbs down. And with that being said, let's get into our next trade. All right, and the next trade request is coming from Cineyet Morok. So let's see what Cinna has to trade with us today. We start off with the Gleaming Halloween Bun Puff, Pure Nimble, and it does seem like this may be Cinna's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. All right, and I did just confirm with Cinna, who did just say yes as to whether or not this is their final offer or not. And with this being said, is this trade worth it? Unfortunately, we're 3 for 3 on this. This is going to be a major thumbs down. Do keep in mind that these are going to be dropping pretty hard. I mean, right now, I did say recently it was about like what, 1.5, 1.7 horrendous. We can see this barely hitting 1 GR. So now this is going to be a major thumbs down. But with this being said, let's get into our next and potentially final trade. All right, and our next and final trade request is coming from WWW1034Y. So let's see what WWW has to share with us today. So we start off with an Emerald Geklo, Tender Smart, and it's also going to be Lightning Rod, a Gamma Rainbow Whisper Roach, Hyper Tender, and it does seem like this may be WWW's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. All right, and I did just confirm with WWW, who did just say, yeah, I got this thing. So they did actually add in an additional Gamma Leopon Pure Nimble and a Gamma Gravestone Pure Nimble. Now with all this information taken account for, is this trade worth it? Unfortunately, this trade is going to push towards a thumbs down. Do keep in mind that stuff like the Gamma Leopon is going to be around 0.6 GR with decent demand. This Gamma Baroche, since it is Rainbow, maybe is like 0.1 really bad demand, since it is, I mean, a Gamma common. And lastly, for the Emerald Geklo, we can see that guaranteed well over like 0.8 at the very minimum. Now bear in mind, Geklos are going to very much range. I know the Sapphires have a solid demand and solid value already set. For the Ruby and Emerald Geckos, they're not really too up there unless they're Gleam or SA, so just bear that in mind. But that being said, once again, unfortunately, a thumbs down. And with this being said, let's wrap this trade up. And before we end this trade, I just want to also give a major shout out to www because they've said they've subscribed and they've been watching for a good while now. So major shout outs to you and anyone who's been watching. Major shout outs to everyone once again. But unfortunately, this trade is going to push towards a thumbs down. With this being said, let's wrap this trade up. Alrighty guys, that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, and join our Discord server. While you're at it, go join Reliable Values as it's obviously in the name Reliable. I would highly recommend it if you guys need any help with sort of values, demands, and all that good stuff. But don't just stop there. Head on over to my TikTok because yes, Unc does post on his TikTok page, and obviously it's going to be some solid content. I mean, yes, it's re-uploaded from my YouTube, but then again, still watch it. And final reminder, make sure to join my Roblox group and keep an eye peeled for any of the Gleaming Halloween Dust Kit merch that I'll be dropping, as well as the Noli merch soon to come. With all this being said, remember, pineapples are vegetables. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, stay safe, peace.